You can stay in your delusion. You can stay in your crib. You can stay in your feedback. You can stay beyond your welcome. You can stay. Go out back, find the alligator. Go out front with the machine gun. Tell everyone how nice they are. I don't know you, not anymore. I don't know you, not anymore. 'Cause when I asked you, everything was fine. When I asked you, all was divine.
Irrational, repetitious.
You're deluded, deluded. You're deluded. You're deluded. I would like to know what went wrong back then. Why do they all stare? You made me into a pariah because I wouldn't lie. You made me an outcast because I wouldn't be your little bitch. Huh. Your little bitch. Huh. You made me a liar because you all lie.
Shotguns are out.
And now I'm not going to listen. Not anymore. I made you into a scarecrow. You tame the alligator with your machine gun. All the lilies of the field were dead 'cause of you. Lie.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Shabbat Shalom. I use these terms, and some of the terms that people object to. I am not a Zionist, but I am not anti-Jewish, let's say, and I'm inspired by the events that occurred in the Middle East with respect to Jesus, Yeshua, the tribe of Judah, and the whole lineage and history, especially the mystical aspects of time and space and when they change. Trump seems to know something about that. But he is not divulging what it is. He said, that which is coming, no man can stop. It almost sounds biblical, except that he's got a picture of the globe with some kind of a cross on there. I'm not sure exactly where he's going with that, but that's a biblical term. That which God has ordained, no man can stop. That's what that means. But when we hear it, excuse me, in terms of man, that which man has ordained, no man can stop. I'm sorry, that man has stops himself all the time. And as far as what a Zionist today is that is egregious to people, it's basically the sort of, if you like, Israel first crowd that are evangelical Christians, which by the way, don't even really vote in elections or haven't. Evangelical Christians who put Israel first as the chosen people, which is a teaching that is not based on any kind of reality that I would even understand, because it would mean that you would have to deny the everlasting covenant with Jesus to make that true, and then reapply the covenant with Jesus. You see what I mean? For those of you who know where I'm at here, and I'm not going to explain it because I'm not, that's for your theologians. But it's truly amazing how people will twist things around, and we have these fights going on. We're like a guy that, like Tucker Carlson, and a lot of this comes from the left, from the left who is now totally energized at, I guess they did heed my prediction that Trump was going to lose. And and I was talking about the midterms specifically, but also that next election was a sweeping loss. And I said that because that's what I perceive. Yeah, I just perceived it a little earlier than most people, but I would say most people are perceiving this very same thing right now today. That the reason I believe that the Democrats are keeping the government closed is because they feel confident with those elections that they will also carry the midterms, and so they don't mind putting the pain on, because they can always, they have the media helping them, of course, always to blame Trump on Trump's way out. And yeah, he's bad, and get rid of him. And now we have a Democrat president, and AOC, I suppose, would be the new president, is what I say. No, people won't laugh. You laugh at AOC, you're going to go to jail. That's basically it. And I've been listening to liberals all week talking about how Trump has done the shutdown, and he's taking food out of babies' mouths, and all the rhetoric I've heard over and over and over and over and over again. It's like they never learn. They're the same stupid party that they were in the beginning. Each party, though, cancels the other out. So no real progress can be made, like the kind of stuff Trump's doing. We've never seen any man do politically anywhere. His accomplishments are tremendous. But when you talk to Democrats, you would think that the president of the United States is a colossal failure, and that the economy is the worst it's ever been. And I would point out to you once again, I'll point out to you the truth and see if it'll stick for a while. I doubt it. But the stock market is at record numbers, and it's not even overvalued. Like remember during the .bomb era of the 90s, we had some stocks valued like, any of them, take your pick, Oracle, or what was that one, Applied Materials, or any of these kind of companies were like trading at 70, 80, 90 times earnings, and .coms that had no products and no revenue would sell at like 80 or 90 times, no earnings, and be completely ridiculously overpriced. And then of course there's a crash. this economy is you're looking at average 15, 20, something like that, which is acceptable. And I don't think the market's going to advance much more than it has since Jerome Powell. I guess he's a stealth Democrat who's actually a Democrat. How he has applied interest rate pressure by keeping them high to make sure that Trump does not succeed in pulling off an economy that everyone notices. Now, the first thing that they ought to notice, though, is where gas prices were during Biden, where they are now, especially on Thanksgiving. A lot of people would be driving because you aren't going to be flying. They shut down the government. The Democrats shut down the government. It was like, if you don't give us $100 trillion tomorrow with this gun to your head, we're going to shut down the government. It's like, nobody would do that. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to give trillions to somebody, and for it to continue, things that don't work, that need to be, held up, that need to be boosted, like Obamacare and all that. And I believe the reason there isn't progress in solving Medicare, Medicaid, and some of the other things is just because, mainly because of theft. It's mainly because of the theft of the tax base. Taxes are taking in more than they have. More revenues coming in the United States than ever before in history. Trump is sitting on, he said after his first year, he would have how many? Like, did he say $100 trillion? I'm not, you know what? I'd have to go back and check, but I mean, he said some extraordinary number from tariff revenue that's coming in that is, would fuel the fire toward infrastructure and especially bringing business to the U.S., which is vital. And so now we're getting to the subject that I want to talk about today, which is, and this is going to make you mad, or rather remind you of the frustration you already have. But this is kind of where we are politically. And I think I said this in a pod or a Lizard Index or something before I took a couple days off here. No matter how, we might as well just get to it, shall we? No matter how amazing Trump's accomplishments are in terms of whether it's, they're all laughing, that peace deal with China, and it's falling apart in the Middle East. They're already shooting each other. But he'll go back. He'll keep working on it. That's his driver. He's going to keep working on it. He'll go back and put it back together. He'll keep on until he can't keep on anymore with that and trade. Peace and trade, trade and peace. And they go hand in hand. For the reason for it is because Trump knows what's coming. And he realizes the world needs to be prepared for this massive, massive shift away from an industrial economy to an AI economy. And it's basically going to change everything. Everything. Anything and everything. And unfortunately, I'll get this slide here. So you can see the dawn coming in back there. So unfortunately, people don't seem to understand that. So they don't relate to anything Trump or the Republicans have done to that end. For example, businesses coming into the U.S., trillions of dollars coming into the U.S., billions and trillions from tariffs, lower gas prices, inflation down, new highs on the stock market, et cetera, showing a robust economy that's being hampered by Democrats shutting down the government. And also the main Democrat is Jerome Powell. He's listed as a Republican, but he's a Democrat who has kept the interest rates high because of his own pride, because he just doesn't want to have Trump have the victory of solving the economy. And if he screws around with the interest rates, he will ensure that no real recovery hits Main Street. It'll hit Wall Street, but not Main Street. And that's kind of the game that they're playing. And so, and here's the takeaway. You just saw the little precursor to the midterms. Okay, very predictable. I was going to say it should be a rout, and the midterm should be a complete and total rout, and a kind of almost like an elimination of, I would say, like an elimination of Republicans from all political discourse will happen in the midterms. It will be, and the main reason for that, and now get ready, brace thyselves, my beloved friends, please. Brace thyself. All right, here it comes. All right, you ready? No matter how good, to put it in the most layman term possible, no matter how good Trump does, no matter how many things he accomplishes, he will not get credit for anything. And Republicans will be blamed for A, the worst economy of all time, B, ICE fascists breaking in and hauling off innocent people who are citizens and already contributing to the tax base, break their families up and haul them off and put the children in cages. 3, they'll be blamed for human trafficking. 4, they'll be blamed for the pain at Thanksgiving, the airlines. People won't be going home for that Thanksgiving dinner. And that will be every day repeated. Trump shut down, Trump shut down, Trump shut down, Trump did the airlines, Trump, and then God forbid, if we have a plane crash because of this fiasco the Democrats have created, it's going to be Trump crashed the plane. Trump is bombing innocent people trying to come over here from Venezuela. These boats are not packing drugs. They're just innocent people trying to escape a horrible regime, and Trump is murdering them. So now the reputation of Trump is he is a murderer, a fascist, a dictator, and not one thing that he has done is to be given credit for. Furthermore, the Republicans, even though they're not standing with Trump, and this is another big thing, if they're not going to stand with Trump, they're going to lose every election. If they're going to be cuckold Republicans, then they're going to lose every election. Then they might as well go sit it out now. Proclaim the communists won, and give them your children and your wife and your house, and put on your best sneakers and just be homeless, because that's where this goes. Why they have the big question that I would ask if I were a university professor, and I would get my students to write up essay, because I don't know how this happens, the psyop involved, but how does it happen that the greatest achievements are considered the greatest attacks on Americans? I have talked to people who are convinced that their health care was taken, the legal immigrants have been taken away and sent to different countries, families have been broken up, people have been killed, and Trump is going from city to city, with the intent of invading. That if you don't do what he says or acknowledge him for who he is, the king, the dictator, then it's off with your heads. And that's all they see. They don't give Trump credit for anything, including the economy. Oh, it would have straightened out anyway, So, and with the no support from Republicans, So they passed the big, beautiful bill, whatever, and which was an attempt to get control of the, of an out of control spending problem. They passed that, and then Republicans gave up. In other words, they haven't done anything since then. They haven't backed one thing that Trump has done, any of the peace things, none of it. So therefore, nobody knows. They think that if you have someone like AOC as president, you're going to have a really compassionate, good people there who are very competent and very good at business, very good with the economy, and they'll be able to fix everything for you. Anyway, so the divide is, no matter how good he does, I don't care if he solves world peace, cancer, every cheapens all the medicines and drugs from the AMA, and and makes healthcare possible for every single person. He can do all that. He will be given zero credit. He will lose more seats by succeeding. The other dichotomy is the Democrats are to do nothing. Zero. They are to, the less they accomplish, the more they will sweep in the midterms. You heard that from me. The less they accomplish, accomplishing nothing is actually the goal. Doing nothing is the goal. Having no accomplishments is the goal, because people don't care. They said, well, we wanted affordability. Trump didn't want it. Okay, sorry. I'm very sorry. When I get on a roll, things start flying around. Anyway, yeah, that jarred me. I better get back on track.
It jarred me too.
I gotta get back on track. Well, it's unfortunate, maybe I should just cut it here. What I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter. It never mattered that the Democrats pass no bills. Have you ever heard of anything like that in history? So the reward goes to, the sweeping elections go to, and this goes to you wonderful Americans out there, how smart you guys are. You vote for the most incompetent of all, the people that will definitely screw up everything, because technically you think that if we screw everything up, then we have to start over and we can refound the country as part of the global communist network, which simply means a lot of murder and a lot of poverty, period. Putting your kids in that kind of poverty, that's really disgusting. If you had a choice not to. I've been fighting communism for a long time because my eyes were opened when I read the Black Book of Communism. And I understood there's no such thing as communism. There is such a thing as, communist dictatorships. We have, oligarchs, billionaires that run it and keep everybody poor. And if anybody acts up, well, you've seen China. So the China model is the model they're going for. And this is, the plan to enslave, to reduce the population, ultimately to kill every last human being there is. All human beings have to die to make way for the singularity. That's the real issue here. That ultimately the agenda, the rabbit hole goes to, the plan is to kill every human being on earth and, evolve into a more evolve into the movie Avatar. That's basically it. Evolve into a digital realm. That's the universe, not a biological one, which means no human. No humans. Cyborgs, but no humans. No free souls. No Lamb's Book of Life, because once the DNA has changed, then they are no longer the human being that God made. So therefore, their deal with God is canceled at that point. No, they don't care. As long as they can, experience pleasure at the expense of everybody, they don't care. So this is, the thing you're facing. The Republicans this is why I'm not a Republican, because I'm not a Democrat, because I see where real hardcore Republican patriotism goes right into the mud. With all that fervor and all those flags and MAGA and all this stuff, you would think that somebody would stand with the president. But no, they act like they don't know this guy. They're giving him a kind of a pass. They're hoping he can do everything himself, and he doesn't need help from them. Meanwhile, they're all going to lose their seats. They're all going to lose their seats. Be the biggest political shakeup. And that last little kerfuffle that went on last week, that was, confirming for the Zeph report. So I didn't just shoot my mouth off. I had some basis for saying they were going to lose. If we keep on this track, the Republicans will lose. Pro-capitalist forces will lose. Pro-American or nationalist forces throughout the world will lose. And the advent of the totalitarian state, 1984, will win. A Democrat's wet dream, 1984. And I've known Democrats for a long time, and they never. The older ones are more like normal. It's sort of like we disagree politically, but we can be friends. But the young generation coming up, they're revolutionaries, and headed up by AOC, who's the head of the party. So I would say that, who spoke that into existence, who was pretty prophetic about it, was Michael Moore. Remember Michael Moore? He was the one that said AOC was the leader of the Democrat Party. We should just admit it, he said. And he's been right ever since. And not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that she's not a leader and would not be able to lead. She could take orders. I don't know what the deal is with Israel and the United States. I mean, how tight that is, that Zionist agreement. But, the people that are backing it as Zionism are Zionists. And they want an Israel first policy. And that's the whole thing about Charlie Kirk and the fact that there's assassination and all that. It goes, I'm sorry, folks. I know you don't want to hear this. It goes to the top. What the involvement is of the top and how it came down, I don't know. But I can tell you that everybody knows. And remember, I said 30 or 40 people involved? Remember how many people involved in the assassination? 30 or 40? Well, we can try now 100 to 150, 200, maybe 300. Maybe the military. Because that's what it is. And then this suddenly advent of Erica Kirk sending her children away to live with a relative and stepping right into the limelight on day one, ready to rule everything. With the blessing of Trump. That's just, that is hard to take. I agree she's a widow maker, and she ain't no widow though. There's been no real grieving and there won't be. They're still, uncovering a lot of info. I think now the case is stuck because they can't really blame the person they said was the shooter. That Kash Patel caught in 33 hours. He had to say that number 33, the top Masonic number. He had to say that, didn't he? Which simply proved more to me it was a ritual that we've been watching, a ritual that will be concluding, I think, don't hold me to this, but I think it will be concluding at the Super Bowl. When we conflate and equalize the NFL and the corporatocracy of the world, the Larry Fink sort of corporatocracy, with with the TPUSA being this giant juggernaut they can't stop. I think they said they're signing up 50 colleges a day, putting in a TPUSA program. And the sin that they're committing is simply this. Put a political thing together, great. You want to do venture capital for your venture and raise, $1 billion or 2 trillion or 50 billion, whatever you want. Go do it. Have at it. But you want to put Jesus in and call that a revival, but give me your money with a gun to their head, or the other side's going to win? No. No, you don't. Anyone that doesn't understand that, you're beyond me even talking to you. I will not say anything here. I'm not going to waste my time or my listeners' time on this podcast to explain to you why that's wrong. If you don't know why that's wrong, then you have a real problem. I would say, try following Jesus rather than being a Christian. You know the difference? Of course you don't. You don't know much, do you? You just know, obey the orders. Do what you're told. If they criticize Erica Kirk, jump on them online and defend her. Defend her, the grieving widow. These jackals and these demons out there are just attacking for no good reason. Get Candace Owens, And now Candace is sort of outed Israel. So she's not a very good Zionist now, is she? Which she was called. And she's talking about, Nick Fuentes, is another Hitler, and I guess Tucker Carlson is another Hitler, and all that, and that's coming right out of the great arm of propaganda, right out of Israel. So, how did Israel get to be the blackmailer in chief? Well, there's a guy. He was named Epstein, and he went a long way to getting Israel all the deals that Israel wanted. And Israel shows you when you go against a deal that you make with them, you just might get Charlie Kirked. But I think Charlie, I feel bad about him because he was like a pure heart. So I feel, like he didn't know what was going on completely. He knew he was coming up to it. He was getting it, but he was getting it too slow. And I believe he had people who were betraying him. I think half the people at TPUSA wanted to knock him off because he wanted to go another way. And they wanted to go with Israel and the money and the prestige of the NFL and Erica's own talk show. And they want to take over the world for Jesus. That's total blasphemy, by the way. That is 100% blasphemy. That's the kind of thing that if you did that in any other religion, it'd be off with your head. And yet there the evangelicals are, once again, doing it all over again. And it all comes down to this sort of Christian Zionism. And that's the problem. I mean, that's one problem. But there are other problems too. Well, there's a lot of people that would love to get hold of a propaganda arm like TPUSA. A lot of you from the left will be enjoying what I'm saying right now. You'll say, you're one of us, Seth. Well, not really, because I don't buy all your talking points. I don't check all the boxes. I don't believe that the U.S. is founded on stolen land. It's called conquered land. Do I like going and conquering people? No, that's not my nature. I'm a peaceful person. But if you go and invade a country and you take the land over, you didn't steal it. You conquered the people. That's what people did back in those days. The conquistadors were here. They had conquered half the southwest of the U.S., plus South America, plus Mexico. You know, and I don't see people telling them to get out. Well, they're not running it, but I mean, it's, you know, people are conquered. Well, the Indians were all peaceful, and for no reason we came over here and conquered them, and we stole the land and we put them on these little reservations. Admittedly, the indigenous here got a bad deal from, you know, white European pigs who obviously were just trying to get away with something, and they're stupid. And, you know, this case is still being litigated, by the way, of, you know, Native Americans, indigenous Americans, and the U.S. government. That's still not over. And that's a great talking point for what? The left and communism. You see, with us, you would have never had that. Well, if the communists were in command, there would be no United States, probably. I agree with that. Because when I see them, all they do is hate. They hate the country. They hate the politicians. They hate the banks. They hate people that live in houses. They hate anybody who's tried to make it here, has tried to, you know, make ends meet or be successful or whatever. They're just want to tear stuff down. And, you know, to me, that's fine. I don't share in that ideology. I've already gone over the two ideologies, and I can just tell you this. There's not enough support for capitalism to win the midterms. The Democrats don't have to do anything except sit on their thumbs and, you know, tell each other dirty jokes for the next however long. Because when the midterms come, he who's made the least progress, he who has done the least for the people, he who has not accomplished wins it all. I told you I was going to make your blood boil. And you think about it, you're probably saying to yourself, that's what I think. Yeah, of course you think that. You're marveling at it, going, how do they do that? Okay, I got the answer. It's called sorcery and black magic. To get something appear to not be what it is and have people make decisions on no accomplishments for Trump. I'm voting for AOC, who's accomplished everything. How do they do that? Well, they have ways. They use neurolinguistic programming. They use all kinds of propaganda. They have the entire news media. That doesn't mean a lot because there are not that many people that watch the news anymore. But, you know, it's enough to have swept out this last little election, and whatever Republicans were challenging, they got blown out to sea. So there you go. And now it's becoming more and more about Trump, and they really want to put him in jail. They really want to round up, you know, the henchmen of Trump, and, you know, and they want to put everybody in jail. And they're not interested in progress. It's all about one word: power. Power is all they care about. And I don't think they thought that the shutdown of the government was going to go as well as it did. That went very well. The elections went completely in their direction, and they won. And anyway, the Lizard Index, we'll tag it on at the end here. The Lizard Index today as you might guess, since the election is tainted by black magic, i.e., you see a thing, I see it, and yet it's a zebra. No, that's a leopard. It's a zebra. I know that's a zebra. And no, it's a leopard. It's Trump did nothing. It's all been fake. He's just a con man. And the Democrats have done everything for the poor and for the needy and for the bank reform and for the economy, and all Trump does is step in all of it and screw it all up. You need the Democrat Party to sweep, to have the presidency, the U.S. Senate, and the House of Representatives in order to get their policies through, which will be good for working families. And they wouldn't even know what a working family is because they're all billionaires. Oh, dear me. Dear God, help us. How can you get to the point where you see Trump accomplish more than any president in history, just literally the number of things, and yet say that nothing's happened? Can be bringing in billions and trillions of dollars in revenues to the Treasury, and yet he's told he's done nothing about the economy. Who is set the table, as it were, for what's called, what he would call the golden age, a gilded age of where, a lot of growth can happen with businesses. A lot can be done. Where businesses can come here and thrive into the new industrial revolution, the fourth turning, the fourth Kachina, the fourth Kalpa, the end of time, the time about, just before the return of Christ. It's very interesting how the Antichrist will rule the world. The Antichrist may be Trump, for all I know. I don't work at that end of, things of who is the, AC. Anyway, the whole idea would be to turn backwards everything. Everything's backwards. Right? Like Alice in Wonderland. It's all backwards. And you're being programmed by these psyops like Charlie Kirk. And the next thing, the NFL. And then the midterms. And then, there's no end. Yes, the Democrats did everything and the Republicans did nothing. Look, they're afraid of their own shadow. They're afraid of the Democrats, so they don't stand up for Trump. So Trump did nothing, just a con man, spinning his wheels. He's a grifter, looking for how much he can get out of it all, how many billions he can walk away with. No, here's a list of accomplishments. It's 5 pages worth. Okay, here's a list of the Democrats' accomplishments. It's not even 1 page. Do you see a difference? No, that's all. You've been conned by Trump. Trump conned you. He's a grifter. He's a con man. Well, he's pretty important in his whatever religion that is he practices. Something's coming that no man can turn. Is he talking about the return of Christ? Or the return of the old ways? Well, anyway. All right, so up bright and early. Now you see the sun coming up, and that's a beautiful thing. And it's a good day of rest, but when they call good evil.
Index?
Oh, the lizard index is, it's in the wake of the last election and because of the lockdowns being extended due to the election, which is mainly that. Oh God, I have more to say about that. Scott Pressler. What a beautiful, dedicated soul he is. And boy, did he need some help out there trying to get this election in. And he got routed. He got his ass kicked. And you hate to see that from a guy that volunteers his time and is trying to register people and try to do the right thing. And it's like he was completely ignored. Anything that he could accomplish the greatest business and mineral deal with China in the world and put a U.S. on a course to complete prosperity and total security and all that stuff. And the people would say that he's made America a very dangerous place. It wasn't dangerous when the Democrats are running it. It is now. So that's the deal, and no matter how much, well, it's mind-boggling. It's no matter what anyone does, no matter what the Democrats do or don't do, no matter what the Republicans do or don't do, the outcome of the election is already fixed. And the reason is because the people abandoned their post. It wasn't like the presidential election. They weren't out there everywhere, monitoring and having the lawyers go in and policing the votes, and it wasn't happening. So, yeah, I'm going to need a little nap here. Yeah, well, usually what I do is I get up really early and I work on stuff, and then I take a little nap, then I'm back. After about an hour, I'm back at it, and I'm really doing a lot of, besides our film business. Oh, I need to tell you that transference drops on the 17th of November everywhere. So whether you're in Australia or America or Africa or India or wherever you are, you will be able to see it. It's a worldwide distro by Crazed House Entertainment, okay? So that happens on Monday the 17th. Then we have 2 or 3 more titles coming after that. And so they'll be out there, and you'll be able to see a little bit about what we're about. And we're pursuing other projects that we have. And I'm also kind of putting everyone on this idea of you better study up on AI, folks. I've been using it in terms of I use it for vocalists and music, and it works. I don't know where I would get anyone to sing or be able to perform as well in the studio as AI people that I prop up, I prompt, I guide them. I usually have very complex story structures or sound structures. There's lots of changes. And I just want to make sure that we're all coming down on those notes. And anyway, we drop on the 17th, the Monday, and we'll be everywhere with Transference. It's an award-winning film that's I'm pretty sure people like it. So I invite you to go see it wherever you, I don't think it'll be theatrical, but, stream it wherever you can. And, once we have something that I think could go theatrical, we'll put it in the theater. But until then, I think our bread and butter is streaming. And with that, I bid you shalom.
You can stay in your delusion. You can stay in your crib. You can stay in your feedback. You can stay beyond your well. 'Cause when I asked you, everything was fine. When I asked you, all was divine.
Irrational, repetitious.
You're deluded, deluded. You're deluded. You're deluded. I would like to know what went wrong back then. Why do they all stare? You made me into a pariah because I wouldn't lie. You made me an outcast because I wouldn't be your little bitch. Huh. Your little bitch. Huh. You made me a liar because you all lied.
Shotguns are out.
And now I'm not going to listen. Not anymore. I made you into a scarecrow. You tamed the alligator with your machine gun. Oh.